Welcome to Wisdom Hour on Thursday, the 8th of May, and today's question is one that I think will be shared by a lot of people. It is about, how do I cope with all the news about the destruction of our planet, and why is it so hard to do anything about it? Okay, the goal that I muscle tested for this was to get enthusiastic about change. So I'm very interested to see where that's going to take us today. Okay, so give me a yes, give me a no, we're happy to work with this. Okay, who want to work with one? Neither. Language. Okay, question, a statement, an I statement, a you statement. You are worried about everything and don't feel that there is anything you can do about any of it. But this is actually not true. And if everybody did what they can, the world would be looking very different now. We encourage you to get involved in some aspect of what you are concerned about and prioritize getting involved in helping to create change in that area. That could be to do with anything from planting trees to some conservation effort with animals, or cleaning up the ocean, or working with any type of practical organization that is out there doing things to help create change on this planet for the good. When you start to look, get clear about what it is you are most passionate about and how you want to see the world instead of how it is at the moment. Get a very clear vision of how you would like things to be, and then seek out organizations that are working hard to create that. You can find these organizations through Google search and through Facebook and places like that. And there are many people working for this planet at the moment, and they need your help. They all need your help. This is a numbers game. And when enough people take action, things cannot but change. And this is good news. But it takes a one-minded population to create great change, and it will have people who will try and block it, but it is here that the force of the many comes into its own. Don't feel despondent and don't give up. This is the real problem, because people feel like they are powerless when actually they and you are not. Get clear that people can change this world, and they have done so in the past, and they will do it again. When people realize that they are not the rulers of this planet, nor the chosen ones, but instead are a great manifestation of life like every other living being on this planet. Once they lose this arrogance and get clear that only by working with the earth and with other species and with the sea life and with the bugs and bees and with the flora and fauna can general change happen for the good. This is a change in paradigm for Earth because humans have mistakenly begun to think that they are more important than any other type of life, and this is a mistake, and it is simply not true. When one person stands up and aligns with the truth and stands firm and gets their spiritual higher self on board, which can send out the message far and wide to bring in other spiritual helpers that whisper in people's ears, listen to this person. We have seen this with a young girl here who has made a great impact by simply doing these things, standing up for the truth, saying it out loud and clearly, and knowing that it is important enough to stand her ground. When you learn the lesson from this wonderful girl, Greta, you will also feel braver and more able to stand with others and say no, or stand with others and prioritize what needs to happen in your environment. This will only change when your political systems present a proposal which no longer only supports people with great wealth, but puts the earth first, knowing that without her, your species cannot survive. This is a great lesson for humanity, because there have been other species come and go, and it all rests on the environment. And those who say that people making money and having jobs is more important than the environment are wrong. When the earth works with you to make itself heard, you will know the great power of this planet, and you will get excited about how quickly things can change, how quickly seas can be cleaned, how quickly forests can regenerate, and how quickly people can come on board. Get enthusiastic about change and speak often of it, not about the hopelessness or the worry, but instead about what you can do, what that person can do that you're talking to in even the smallest terms. For example, go to your local market and buy things unwrapped and take them home in bags that you reuse. Get a petition going to request that your local supermarkets stop packaging in plastic, and get involved in tree planting or funding places that are doing this work. You can also sign petitions that are working towards what? Prioritizing food which is grown without toxic chemicals which damage the fauna, that is, the bees and insects and bugs and worms and so on. These are just as important as anyone else, because without them you will have no food. Hear this. Without this layer of life, you will have no food. So protect them and support everyone out there who is trying to protect them by banning sprays and toxic chemicals to this wonderful part of life that sustains you, that makes a tree able to bear fruit. If you don't already know this, and you should, everyone should, fruit must be serviced by insects. This means that they must come along and share and move the pollen around to create fruit. And this includes not just fruit on trees, but tomatoes and such things that all start with a flower. So think of peas and beans and all of the beautiful fruit you enjoy. If there are no insects, they cannot fruit. The only other way is to hand pollinate. That is, going around with a little duster and doing what these insects do for us so freely. So there are many ways you can get involved and make your mark and keep spreading the word and practice great compassion for this world, for all of the people on it, and all of the life it contains. When your species evolves enough to understand that this compassion is what will bring it through this crisis time, you will find that great shifts are made in people's consciousness. This is a bit like the 100th monkey. What? No? The 100th month practice. PRO. 100th monkey. Prudent way of looking at things. If you haven't heard of the 100th monkey, it is about some monkeys that learnt how to feed themselves using a rock as a tool to open shellfish. And they started to mimic each other, but at a certain point, this knowledge became part of their present consciousness, and was relayed to all of the other monkeys on a different island altogether. This is how information can be spread, believe it or not. but it takes a critical number of humans to be thinking the same way, to create a mental force that can move and shift people to a different level of consciousness. This is exciting, and you are helping the cause when you get excited, because those monkeys got very excited about this new tool, and in their excitement they amplified their power for what? For they amplified their power for more enthusiasm, and this kept increasing in their energy field, and in this great amplification from their excitement and enthusiasm, their energy was able to travel much further. So do not underestimate any action that people are doing. Add your enthusiasm and your goodwill and spread the word and ask people to do what they can. Try and be specific to help them, because many are like you. They don't know where to start, but they want to help. So give them an easy thing to do that allows them to start to feel powerful instead of a victim in the situation and completely powerless. You are not powerless. No one is powerless unless they have all forms of communication taken away from them. By this we mean they are not allowed to communicate with others, i.e. from jail, or they have lost their ability to speak or write or both, or they get silenced every time they speak the truth. Unfortunately, there are people like this in the world still, and it is up to you, every one of you, to protest about these things when someone is silenced. When your world prioritizes your environment, it will become a more humane and compassionate world. This is not to say that there won't always be wars and problems to overcome. Because this is part of your human nature. And it is also how general ways forward are created. It might sound terrible that you have conflict, but often out of the conflict later comes a rebound of great good to balance this out. And it may take years or longer, but whenever there is war or suffering, the great compassion and kindness and love of people are also ignited. And so we see and hear of people who are wonderfully helping and putting themselves in the firing line to help others, and who are showing that the people who are being abused are just as important as they are. Talk about. Right, so time to get enthusiastic. Time to put your go do it hat on. Whatever that is. To say, think about what did it say? Think about what you're really the most passionate about, or you're most worried about even might be a way of, is that a way of starting? Yes, what you're most worried about. Okay? And get online, go Googling, go Facebooking, and find out what groups, what organisations are working to change that. And then sometimes it's just a matter, ask them, what can I do? You may have time, and maybe not a lot of money. Or you may have a bit of money, but not a lot of time, So obviously, if you've got plenty of money and you're working all the time, but you don't have a lot of time, then maybe you can donate to one of those wonderful organisations and help them along that way. Or maybe you can just share their stuff online as well. There's lots of different ways that you can help. But the first thing is, choose one, so that you don't get into overwhelm. I think, saying choose one, and then get involved there. Even at the smallest level is going to make you feel like, rather than worrying, that you're part of the force for change. And as it said, it is a numbers game. This is a numbers game. The more people that come on board to change things and who say no to the things we know are wrong, there is power in that. So we've just got to keep on working at it, don't we? All of us, any way we can. Okay, so that's our question for today. I do hope that it has helped you come out of being, obviously it sounds by that question you've been feeling really burdened, I suppose, upset. Yeah, and what you said, why is it so hard to do anything about it? that feeling of powerlessness. You don't have to do something huge to step out of powerlessness. You just have to put one foot in front of the other. That's how you step out of powerlessness. If you as I say, it's very different for somebody who might be, thrown in jail for something good they've tried to do and has tried to help humanity. That's a very different situation. We're not talking about those people. We're talking about people, hopefully like you and me, who do have some freedoms to express, to move information around, to tell people what we think, and to ask for support. So good luck with that, and thank you for putting the question in. Great question. Bye now.